In a magnificent mansion located in the most expensive area of the city, lived a beautiful girl named Madison. She was 5 feet 8 inches tall, and her beauty mesmerized everyone who saw her. Her father, Robert Sterling, was one of the city's biggest businessmen with millions in assets. Madison was born with a silver spoon. She had never lacked anything in life. Despite all the wealth, Madison's heart wasn't happy. Her parents had arranged her marriage to Brandon Mitchell, the son of a wealthy businessman. Brandon was also a good guy, well-educated, from a good family, and skilled in business. But Madison's heart didn't connect with him. She wanted to fall in love with someone who would love her not just for her money or beauty, but for understanding her soul. Last month, Brandon had come to their house to meet her parents. During the meeting, he had told Madison's father, "Mr. Sterling, Madison is very beautiful, and being your daughter, she would be good for our business too. The union of our two families will take our business to new heights." Hearing these words broke Madison's heart. Brandon was seeing her not as a person, but as a business deal. She felt like she was some object whose value was determined by her wealth and beauty. That same night, when cold winds were blowing outside and the temperature was around freezing, Madison sat in her room thinking. She saw snow falling outside and people on the streets hurrying to their homes wearing thick jackets. She felt like she might never know what true love really was. Then an idea struck her. She thought, why not conduct an experiment? She wanted to know if there was someone who didn't want her just for money. She made a plan. The next evening, when the cold had intensified even more, Madison put on her expensive clothes and took out her car. She went to the part of the city where poor people lived. There, 3 homeless men were sitting by the roadside, wearing old jackets to protect themselves from the cold. The first man was Marcus, about 35 years old, who sat here all day asking people for money. The second was Samuel, who was around 40 and had been living in this same spot for many years. The third was Alexander, who looked about 30, but had something different about him. There was a strange confidence on his face, and a depth in his eyes that you typically don't see in homeless people. Madison went up to them and said, "I want to ask you all a question." All 3 looked at her. Seeing Madison's beauty and expensive clothes, they understood that this was some rich girl. "I want to know," Madison said, "if any of you would like to be my boyfriend for one day, I'll pay good money." Marcus and Samuel immediately agreed. Marcus said, "Yes, ma'am, I'm ready. Whatever money you give, I'll do that work." Samuel also said, "I'm ready too, ma'am. I really need the money." But Alexander remained silent. He kept looking at Madison but didn't say anything. Madison found this strange. Leaving the other 2, she asked Alexander, "Why didn't you agree? Don't you need money?" Alexander slowly replied, "I don't need money, and I don't want to turn any relationship into a money deal." There was a strange pain in his voice, as if he was hiding something. Madison was very surprised to hear this answer. Here was a homeless man sitting who was refusing to take money. She felt this person was different. "Then what are you doing here?" she asked. Looking at the sky, Alexander said, "Sometimes life takes us to places where we don't want to be. But I've learned that happiness isn't in money. It's in true relationships." Hearing his words, Madison felt a strange stirring in her heart. This person, even being homeless, seemed wiser than her. She said, "Would you come have coffee with me, without any conditions?" Alexander thought for a while, and then said yes. They both went to a small nearby cafe. Sitting there, they talked. Alexander told her that he was college educated and once had a good job, but life's circumstances had brought him here. Madison also shared her problem about how her parents wanted to force her into marriage. Alexander listened carefully to her and said, Love and marriage are life's most important decisions. They should never be done under pressure. As they continued talking, Madison felt that this person understood her soul. There was something special about Alexander. He was educated, wise, and most importantly, he was seeing her not just as a beautiful rich girl, but as a human being. A few days later, Madison met him again. Gradually, their friendship deepened. Alexander taught her new things about life. He said that true happiness was in small things: the sunrise, the sound of rain, someone's smile. Madison began to feel like she was falling in love with Alexander. But she was also troubled that she was loving a homeless man. What would her parents say? What would society say? One day, when they were sitting in the park, Madison asked Alexander, "Do you really love me, or just because I'm rich?" Looking into her eyes, Alexander said, "Madison, if I cared about your money, I would have accepted your proposal on that very first day. I love you because you're a good person. You have room in your heart for others." After this, Madison decided she would make Alexander her boyfriend. She told her parents that she wouldn't marry Brandon. There was a huge uproar at home. Her father was angry. "Have you gone crazy, Madison? Leaving a guy like Brandon, you want to be with a homeless man?" Madison replied, "Dad, love doesn't happen because of money. Alexander understands me and respects me." Her mother was crying. "What will happen to our reputation? What will people say?" But Madison was firm in her decision. She even threatened to leave home. Madison's parents were very worried. They tried many times to make Madison change her mind, but she wouldn't budge. Finally, they hired a private detective to find out about Alexander. The detective started his investigation. He spent several days following Alexander. One day, he saw that in the evening, Alexander took off his homeless clothes and got into an expensive car. The detective followed him and saw that he went to a big mansion in the most expensive area of the city. After more investigation, it was revealed that Alexander's real name was Alexander Blackwood, and he was one of the city's wealthiest businessmen. He owned steel, construction, and IT businesses. His wealth was even more than Madison's father's. But the question was, why did he disguise himself as a homeless man? The detective investigated deeper and found that Alexander had a sad story. 3 years ago, Alexander had married a girl named Victoria. Victoria was also from a wealthy family, and both families were very happy with this marriage. But 6 months after the wedding, it was discovered that Victoria had married Alexander only for his money. She was secretly meeting her college boyfriend, Ryan. One day, Alexander caught Victoria with Ryan. When he asked Victoria, she clearly said, "I married you only for money. I truly love Ryan, but he's poor. Now, when I get a share of your property, I'll leave you and go with him." Hearing this broke Alexander completely. He realized how dangerous money could be. It could even buy people's hearts and relationships. He immediately divorced Victoria. After this, Alexander felt he would never know who truly loved him and who came to him just for his money. He made a decision. He would sometimes disguise himself as a homeless man and sit on the streets so he could know what people were really like. He wanted to see if there was any girl who could love him without his wealth. When the detective gave all this information to Madison's father, he was amazed. He had heard of Alexander Blackwood's name, too. He was very respected in business circles. Madison's father immediately called his daughter and told her the whole truth. Madison was very surprised to hear all this. She understood why Alexander had rejected her money offer. But now there was a new problem. Alexander would think that Madison came back to him only when she found out his real identity. How would he believe that Madison's love was true? Madison decided she would meet Alexander and clear everything up. The next day, she went to the place where Alexander often sat disguised as a homeless man. But he wasn't there. Madison didn't know where he lived. After searching for many days, Madison found out that Alexander had left the city. His business partner told her that he had gone to Chicago for a few days for some important meetings. Madison became very worried. She thought that Alexander might think she was looking for him only after finding out his truth. She called Alexander's office, but he didn't receive the call. A week later, Alexander returned. When Madison found out, she immediately went to his house. Alexander was in his real form, wearing a suit, clean-shaved, exactly like a successful businessman. When he saw Madison, a shadow of sadness appeared on his face. He said, "So you found out everything?" Madison said, "Yes, but listen, Alexander..." Cutting her off, Alexander said, "You don't need to say anything, Madison. I understand. As long as you thought I was a poor homeless man, you talked to me. Now, when you found out I'm rich, you came here." Tears came to Madison's eyes. "No, Alexander, you're misunderstanding. I love you because you're a good person. Your money doesn't matter to me." "How can I believe that?" Alexander asked. "Victoria said the same thing." Madison took a deep breath and said, "If you want, I can give up all my wealth. I'll leave my father's company and work like an ordinary girl. Will this prove that my love is true?" Alexander was amazed. He had never thought that someone could give up their wealth for love. Madison continued, "Alexander, when I loved you thinking you were homeless, I had decided that I would leave my parents' wealth and live a simple life with you. If you want, we can both donate all our wealth to charity and live life like a middle-class couple." Hearing this, a smile appeared on Alexander's face. He realized that Madison's love was true. He hugged Madison and said, "Forgive me, Madison. I was doubting you." They both got married. They decided to use a large part of their wealth to help the poor. Alexander created an NGO that worked for the education of underprivileged children. Madison started working for women's empowerment. They both realized that true happiness wasn't in earning money, but in helping others. Their love story became famous in the city, and people said this was an example of true love. Even today, Alexander sometimes goes to the streets to meet homeless people and help them. Madison also goes with him. They both had learned that real wealth is in the richness of the heart, not in money. Their story doesn't end here. They still live happily together and work to bring happiness into others' lives. They have 3 children whom they teach that the most precious thing in life is love and compassion.